Hi everyone, this is Renee Francis with A Matter of Perception. In this video, we are going to be looking at the case of Cody Haynes out of Kittitas, Washington. I hope I said that correctly. Anyway, this little sweetheart has been missing for way too long, and there are some strange circumstances existing around his disappearance, and this video and this work is being done for his family, who have reached out to us in the middle part of November, asking us for our help. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to see if we can help bring this little angel home. Anyway, Matter Perception is the result of 30 years of working on cases of missing people found. And what we've been doing is looking at point of abduction to point of recovery. We've been mapping the distance, mapping the true north vector bearing from point to point, and we've been citing the disturbing parallels that are existing between the facts in those cases with the astronomical process. And when I say the astronomical process, what I mean is that the planetary patterns. Okay, so at any time and location, the planets are up there in their orbit around the sun, and they are forming aspects and angles to each other. And what we do is, at the time of a victim's birth and at the time of their disappearance, we look at all those planetary patterns and we map them out. We take their measurements and we turn them into vector bearings, because that's exactly what they are, and we put it on against a map, and we're showing how the patterns are actually showing us where they're found. You can actually join us and follow us. We're doing a 100 case homicide study, and we're culling through hundreds of cases that are piled on our desk at the moment, and we are looking for cases that meet the criteria of exact time and exact location, so that we can actually illustrate to you our findings. We're going to share with you what we're finding, and you can watch it all unfold. And when we're done, the goal is to get it underneath the noses of law enforcement agencies across the United States, because when a child disappears, there's absolutely no time to waste looking in the wrong direction. And that's exactly the problem, is that when a child disappears, there are 360 directions in which they could move into. So anyway, that's what we've been doing, and it's lucky for me that I have had the first 7 years of my professional life I spent in a prosecutor's office with law enforcement. So I actually am well aware that they need tangible evidence in order to, get a search going. But our mission here is to actually get our service to work alongside law enforcement, and not to replace their sound investigative procedures. We want to put our maps underneath their nose so that they can eliminate and narrow down the possibilities to search. So, please follow us, our YouTube channel. Please support our work. My God says that there's no reason we should have a missing child. Okay, we need to apply our minds and think outside the box and learn, and that's what we've been doing. So let's get back to our little sweetheart here. I'm going to go back to Cody. Okay, it's time for him to come home, and the first thing we need to do in a missing case of a missing child is to look at their astrological profile. Okay, we want to see, what is present at the time of their disappearance that is suggesting to us, are we looking for a child that is alive, or are we looking for a child that has expired? That is critical information as to how they are searched for. So first thing we're going to do here with Cody is, we were fortunate enough to have the family give us his exact time and location of his birth. So we're working with excellent data here, and what we did was we progressed him to the point of his disappearance. And so the inner ring here The inner ring here is going to be his birth stars. The outer ring is his progressions to this. His actually progressed birthday would be the 28th of April, which would be actually 11 days. Almost 12 days past the 16th. Okay, that's how we progress things in the heavens. They move one degree per year. Anyway, and then this outer ring here is my chicken scratch on where the planets were when he, on the date of his disappearance, which was the September 12th. So what we're going to do here is, all right, first of all, the sun and the moon are the two most critical planets in all our health. Think about this. Without the sun and moon, no life would exist here on the planet, okay? The sun and moon in our own planetary maps is as vital to our health as the sun and moon is vital to the Earth's health. So I want to look and I want to see the conditions of his sun and I want to see the conditions of his moon at his birth. And I'm noting that the first one, okay, that disturbs me is the sun square Uranus Neptune that he has, okay? So his sun is here and it's in square to here. So this indicates to me that it suggests an inclination towards life ending shortly and abruptly, and also having some mystery around it, because Uranus is the planet that rules sudden and unexpected behavior. Neptune is a planet that rules mystery and things that are unseen. Okay, and we already know that there is some mystery surrounding this young boy's disappearance. So for Cody, his sun squaring the Uranus and Neptune is suggesting that yes, he could have an early death. Okay, but I just don't want one. I need to have a few different things happening here to confirm this for me. The next one I'm going to cite is his moon. Okay, his moon is conjunct Saturn. Okay, so the moon conjunct Saturn is actually squaring Pluto here. Okay, so this is another indication that his life could end early. His progressed moon is here. Okay, so the moon, your stars don't stop moving when you're born; they do progress. Okay, and for Cody, at his disappearance, his sun had progressed to be 21 degrees Cancer, and it was conjuncting his Mars. So this is telling me Mars rules the head. Mars is just nearly on his ascendant right here, which rules the head. So this is telling me that he died from a blow to the head, and that he did in fact die, because this is the moon is emotional and Mars is heat and it's violence. So this is telling me that his death was from a violent blow. Now the whole thing that's triggering all of it is that the planet Saturn right here in transit is conjuncting this, and it's opposing all this. So yes, we have three things that are telling us that Cody expired on that date, and that we would, so that the rest of this interpretation here will be that we are looking for remains. Now, let me just erase this for 1 second, because not only is this chart going to tell us if we're looking for, remains or a young boy that may still be alive, but I'm going to clear it. But we want this chart to tell us who did it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so this is Cody. This is his opponent. Okay, so Cody has Leo rising. This tells me that he was a happy child, actually. Okay, but with Mars close to ascendant, he could have been very energetic. Okay, with Mars trying to his Pluto. Okay, not only does this signify an early death too, and a violent death, but it would also suggest that he was an old soul, so maybe he was like a little grown-up person with this aspect, and but a happy child. I see somebody who's who's always going to give you a chance. Another thing that I want to look for is who's opponent over here. Okay, so Aquarius is typically ruled by Uranus. but first by Saturn, because when Saturn was discovered before Uranus, and in the annals of astrological history, Saturn was giving rulership over Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is ruling both these houses. It's ruling not only his opponent, but it's ruling his 8th house of death. And Saturn is conjunct the moon. So this is telling me that he died by a woman's hand. Okay? There's that the woman in his life would be cold and detached and mean, because that's what Saturn does. Saturn is limiting, it's restrictive, it's a burden, it's mean, it's cold, it's hard, it's concrete. So that sitting on his moon is telling me that the women in his life would behave that way, or he would interpret them that way. But all in all, this young boy had all this Aries up here, and this is the little heroes of the zodiac. So he wouldn't be afraid of anything. He wouldn't be afraid to confront anyone on anything. So this could have been part of his demise, is that he wouldn't maybe back down. Okay, he'd stand up for himself. Anyway, this Aries stuff, this Aries, Venus Mercury conjunction Aries is opposing Jupiter down here, and it's also when we're born, you have to think about this whole wheel being the wheel of life. Okay, we come in head first, we learn how to walk and hold things in our hands. We go to school and we learn to write and talk. This is our environment, our home where we live. This is how we learn to do things that are fun. To me, I'm seeing a little joker who used to, I think he liked jokes. I think he likes sweet. There's something about candy with him that keeps on sticking out in my mind. That was probably something you could probably, he liked it so much that he probably would have maybe wanted to grow up and have his own candy store or something. That's what I'm getting from looking at his stuff here. But Pluto and Jupiter in this area of his chart is telling me that he died at home. Not that somebody abducted him, that he ran away, something bad happened to him somewhere else, but something bad happened to him right in the comfort of his own home. So I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to move on, okay, because I want to actually show you something else. So let's clear all this, okay? So now we know that we're looking for a young boy who is expired, okay, and this happened at home, okay? I'm probably going to elaborate a little bit more in this area in a little bit. I just needed to get started and move on with some other cases that are on my plate right now. But I'm going to come back here and fill some more of this stuff in. But right now, I think that what we're doing is we need to... I personally don't really think he's that far from home. I think he is probably on property that's connected somehow to your people of interest here. And it would be really nice to know who they know and who has property and who has a farm, and where people follow the path of least resistance. So I don't know. I think if you learn more about your people of interest here in this crime, and who they know and who their friends are and who has property and who has farms, you'll see if any of those fall on these lines that we're going to go through in a little bit. You could have a good chance of finding him on a piece of property that is directly related to your people of interest here in this case. Okay, so there's another thing I wanted to show you here, and we have a case here of a young man who has strangely disappeared, and there is a story that's just not fitting with the people of interest here on what happened to him. And so we're going to go take a look at the case of Timothy Wiltsey. This is a case, little boy whose mom said she lost him at a carnival. Okay, and as it turns up, his mother was just found on a guilty verdict this past year on his murder. So I just wanted to show you real quick how that all panned out for Timothy. Okay, I'm going to show you how his chart lied, how the chart, even the chart that his mom said that we erected from when his mom said he went missing at the carnival, is actually telling us that he was already passed. Okay, I'm going to show you that real quick here. Okay, so when Timothy's mom said he went missing, Scorpio is rising. Okay, this is a sign that is affiliated with death. Okay, Mars is the first ruler of Scorpio, and it's over here in the house of death. Okay, Pluto just got done rising about maybe 10-15 minutes ago. Okay, and it's here, and it's exactly trine Venus in the 8th house of death. I'm going to show you how these planetary lines in a trine actually showed where his remains were recovered. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a little bit, so just hang in there for a minute. But this chart for when she said that she turned around to buy a pop and Timothy was gone is a lie. She already knew he was expired because everything in this chart is pointing to him already being dead. So she was lying. Okay, so let's clear this one. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to look at the case of, this is a well-known case here, Susan Smith. This is the one who said she got carjacked, and then we later found that she took her car and drove it into John D. Long Lake. Okay, her plea that somebody had taken her kids was here. Okay, October 25th, 9/12. All right, we're going to come down here to the chart for when she lied. Okay, and we're going to note here that Gemini is rising. I'm going to look for the ruler, which is Mercury here, and Mercury is actually making a trine to this point, but not only is it trining this point, okay, it's forming a triangle, it is squaring this point. So this planet that's ruling ascendant is squaring here. Squaring this. Oh, that's a bad square, but it's a square if I did it right. Sorry. Anyway, the point is that the same planet that is rising at the ascendant when she said she got carjacked, that it's squaring planets that are in the 8th house of death. So she was lying too. She already knew those boys were dead and in that lake. Okay? So this is even chart. People can't even get away with their lies, okay? Because we can do a chart for when they said that, something happened, and it's already going to show you that we already know that they're dead, okay? Now, mind you that this 5th house where Mercury is the house of children, okay? And it's squaring the house of planets that are in the house of death, okay? Her 2 children were dead. All right, so I'm going to come back in a minute, and I'm going to show you the planets and how they worked out for the patterns on the map and how they showed where the kids were in a minute. Let's get rid of this. Let's go back to Cody because I want to show you the chart for 2:30. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring up the chart for 2:30 when your person of interest left to go on this convoluted ride. Okay. At 2:30 a.m. Leo is rising. The sun is down here in Mars. Okay. And it is square to Pluto, planet of death. Okay, these two are square. Now I'm looking for this house here. I want to see what's going on in this house. Okay, and what I find here is that Uranus is here, and it's ruling this house, and it's ruling this house. Saturn is also ruling this house as first, and he's here. He just got done rising. So this is telling me that. So. About 20 minutes ago, Saturn was rising right here. So 20 minutes ago, maybe around 2 o'clock, something ended for Cody, okay? But Uranus is in the house of death, and it's ruling the house of death, and it's exactly opposing Mercury down here. So somebody made a phone call, come home, you better get him. Something bad happened, and so that's what I'm thinking. It happened here. But at 2:30, when your person of interest left for that long convoluted ride, we already have somebody that was expired. Okay? So I just wanted to bring this up just to show you how this chart relates to the other 2 charts of Timothy Wiltsey and Susan Smith, that at the time of their pleas that something happened, we already were dealing with death. Okay, so that's that. Let's clear that. We'll put this down. And what we're going to do is we are going to come back and put this down. We're going to come over here to Timothy Wiltsey. Okay, we're going to come to his map. Okay, before I show you this, let's come back to Cody for a second. Okay, so what we've done is I've looked at Cody's birth chart, and I've done all these planetary patterns, okay, are have been drawn out in his map. That's down here, okay. And you're going to be able to, I'm going to show you how to work that in a little bit. This is the time that he, the 2:30, okay, this is all the planetary patterns for that time, okay, that have been drawn out into the map, okay. So when you come and use this map, you always want to make sure that you're going to refresh it, because you never know if I go in here and I put in something different. I'm going to get to this map in a minute. Hang on with me. I want to show you how it worked out in other cases. Okay. So I'm going to show you this in a little bit too later on. This is something I typically do not put on the website for these children, but I did it here for Cody because I want you to see something. Okay. I'm going to highlight some things for you here. Okay. Cody, this is Cody's, this is all the degrees of Cody's planets. All these miles and distance were drawn out in the map. This is his progressions. They were not drawn out in the map. Only these were. Okay. And then here is all the measurements for the planets at the time of the disappearance. These radius has been drawn out for miles and distance as well. Okay. I'm showing this. Hang in with me there. I'm going to show you why I'm showing you this. These are the measurements. The total degrees of longitude of all the planets are here. These are the true north vector bearings that were drawn out for these patterns. Okay. The only reason why I'm showing this to you now is because I want you to see something. Okay. And this is disturbing. Okay. So Cody was born, when Cody was born on 4/16, Pluto was measuring 24 degrees Scorpio. Okay. So we might want to look, let me scratch that for a second. Just forget I even said anything right there. That's not what I wanted to bring up first. I wanted to bring up this first. When Cody was born, his Neptune was 21 degrees Capricorn. Okay. In total degrees of longitude, it measured 291. Isn't that the date he disappeared? To the universe, it's just inverted, but that number stands. I highlighted the 24 and here because where we point out to some of the roads later, there's a Route 24 and a 243 that runs off this road, and this is just inverted. Okay, so we might want to pay attention to this. Okay, another thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that Cody's moon, a woman, at the time of his disappearance, is measuring the date of birth of one of your persons of interest. Okay, that's disturbing. I wanted to bring that up. Okay, and again, his own Neptune again has given us his disappearance. Okay, I need to show you a little bit more here. Okay, so again, we got these 24 phone pings here. Okay, you said it was unverified, but I just wanted to tell you that Saturn at the time of his disappearance was 24 degrees, and the cell phone ping was near this Route 24. So I just wanted to show you that I cited that. But let's move on to these other ones here. Hold on. Okay, so this is your first person of interest. Okay, Neptune was 11 degrees Scorpio and was in Cody 11 years old when he disappeared. Okay, this person's Jupiter is measuring 21 degrees Capricorn. In total degrees of longitude, it's measuring 291, which again is can become the date of when he disappeared. Okay, that can become 9/12. It can be. Another thing is that this person's Mars is measuring 00 degrees Cancer, which is 90 degrees, and there is a Route 90 that is stretching out into one of the areas where your map actually, let me bring this up. Okay, this is the map that of this convoluted drive. Okay, I cited all these different things in our own map for you, so you can see if any of the lines are pulling out into this area. I'm going to give a little bit of a pause here right now, only because I need to take a little bit of a water break. We're running 25 minutes, and that's a little long. But anyway, I'm just going to pause for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm sorry for that pause. We are going to jump back over here to Timothy Rootsy real quick, and I'm going to come down to his map, okay? See, it's really easy to cite afterwards, okay? But when you come and you look at a new map, okay, I'm going to pull Cody's map right now up here, okay? I have to look at all the possibilities, okay? I have to turn them all on, and it gets real busy, okay? And you need to look at this one by one. We'll get back to it in a little bit, but I want to show you how it worked out for Timothy. Okay, all right. Little Timothy Wilthy lived here. Okay, this was his residence. Okay, this is where his remains were found, in a blanket and a tire. Some of his remains were found scattered, but some of them were inside of a tire with a blanket as well. His first sneaker was found about a couple of months after his disappearance by his mother. When she saw it, said she didn't recognize it. Anyway, this is the carnival where she said she went and where he disappeared. Okay, I believe that Timothy died at home the night before. But anyway, so what happened is that we're gonna the vector bearing from this point to this point is, sorry, 232. Okay, so the true north vector bearing from this point to this point is 232 degrees. Okay, his remains from his home here was 298 vector bearing and 308 vector bearing to the others. Okay, so what happened here is that this mileage right here, okay, is 2.4 miles. I think it was Pluto that gave us the measure to this mileage. And then this 1 mile, I think, was Neptune, okay? I'm going to turn them on a little bit, we'll know. And then this 3 miles, so there was stars at the time and at birth that were giving us these miles in distance, okay? So let's look at the 911 call first, okay? So his mom, this is when she said he disappeared, right? So if I turn this on, remember I told you about the moon, Pluto? How the Venus and Pluto were trining? Okay, so where, from her own home, this is the planet Pluto at 18 degrees, okay? That the stars, at the time when she was said that she disappeared from her own home, we have a planet that was telling us that she was lying, pulling down to this carnival, okay? Remember I told you I wanted to bring that point up, right? So now this one is the moon square, okay? So at the time of the disappearance, the moon and Mercury were opposing one another, and in a T-square, let me show you this. They were in a T-square to Saturn, okay? I'm showing you that same T-square here, okay? Only it's coming this way and this way. From the house, it's pulling out to where his remains were found in the tire, okay? Now this is in red, so this is the disappearance. This is the 911 call, okay? If I want to turn on Timothy's birth chart, okay, see, his Neptune was 1 mile, pulling out to the carnival. His Pluto was 2, pulling out to where his remains were, okay? I'm going to turn on his Mars, Jupiter. Okay, so Timothy also had in his chart, is he down here? Okay, so Timothy Wiltshire, when he was born, he had a T-square Mars opposition. So let's do this. Okay, so he had the Mars, Jupiter opposition to Pluto. Okay, and we're seeing that same T coming up to where, from his home, over his residence, is coming out to where his remains are recovered. Okay, now again, this is easy to cite at the time. Not at the time. It's easy to cite afterwards. It doesn't look so messy. But when we start looking for a child that's missing now, and we have to put all the possibilities in, it starts to become very, very messy. Okay, so this is his mom. Okay, So I'm going to turn on his mother. Okay. So his mother, let me turn this one off. His mother's Mercury at the time she was born was 1 mile, giving us going down to the, measuring down to the carnival, and 3 miles measuring down where his first sneaker was found. Okay. If his mother had a Sun Neptune conjunction, and if when we put that over her house, hold on, it gets a little busy here. When we put her Sun Neptune conjunction over her house, we square it off, because in Sun Neptune conjunction is very powerful. So she had her her moon and her Neptune were square one another. Okay, so and her sun was here. So her stars over her house and the pattern they were making, the moon, Neptune, sun square that she had, was not only pulling out to the carnival where she said she lost him, but her moon is pulling out to the area where he was recovered. Now, if we hone in on this a little bit closer, okay, this is Red Root Creek. This is the Raritan River. This floods, and all this area gets flooded. So Timothy's remains were found 11 months after he was reported missing, but 2 months. This was May. In October, his first sneaker was found here. So that October, so 4 months later, what was it, 4 months later, May, June, July, August, September, October. 5 months later, his first sneaker was found here. And then 11 months later, all of his remains, well, partial remains, scattered, were found here. But the law enforcement believes that things got, floated around over here because this area gets flooded when the river rises. So, but this is how close her moon was, okay, to this. Now, there's 2 vector bearings for her moon because we don't know what time she was born, so we have to spread it for the day of what the measurement could be. Okay, so let's go back down, scale down, back down here. Okay, so there we have her own sun Neptune square that she had, gave us direction to the carnival and to partial remains. Okay, if I turn this one off and I turn her Neptune Pluto on, now I'm getting, not only is her Neptune Pluto sextile pattern that she has at birth pulling out to the carnival, but it's pulling out to where her sneaker was found. Okay, so this is pretty powerful. So how do we apply this to Cody? I was going to go and show you Susan Smith, but actually I'm going to head over to Cody now, because you can actually look at Susan Smith on your own. Okay, her map is there on our page. You can go and look and see how the boys pulled out. Okay, how Susan Smith pulled out, how Michael, Tyler. Okay, they all had stars that pulled out to where she said that it went missing. Their home is here. John Day Lake is here. Okay, so this is how close everything pulled out. So when you see these lines, you're going to see these in Codys. You're not going to look exactly on them, but you're going to look, on the side of them. Okay, so you can look at Susan Smith on your own. Let's go back to Cody. Okay, so again, these numbers and things I put on here because I want to show you how the dates of his disappearance are showing up in the stars of your people of interest. So now let's go to his map, okay? And we were going to, now remember, I've drawn out vector lines for patterns for his birth, his disappearance, and for one of your persons of interest, okay? So here's Cody, all right? Let's get in here. Okay, I'm going to scan this down, and I want to show you that all the items, locations of interest are in here. Okay, I've mapped out all the ones that you had on your map that you sent me, and then I mapped out everything that involves your case. Okay. Here's your hotspots. Okay, these are hotspots I'm going to turn on. Okay, these are areas where I think that maybe should get a first look. You can turn them on and off. Let's look at Cody. Okay, this is his birth stars over where he disappeared. Okay, I want to show you radiuses and distance. Okay, turn this off when you're not using it so that you can access these. Okay, right now I have his Mars Saturn in conjunction Yod turned on. I can turn it off, I can turn it on. Okay, and I have his Sun Mars. He's got a Sun Mars Neptune square that was being triggered on the day of his disappearance. So look at all these lines, okay? And the radius is here. Pull out 21 miles, 22 miles, 24 miles. You can turn them off, you can turn them on. You can make this map look less busy. Okay, what I did was here is I gave him distance, radiuses and distances that are in accordance to all his stars. Then I combined his Mars and his Saturn, and I summed them to 52 miles, which brings us out here. Okay, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was working in Cody's case is I kept on hearing arch and archery. So where do these things happen? And then when I was looking at this map, I'm seeing how this whole little Hanford Reach monument is almost like an arch, but I don't think he would be placed in here, but perhaps around here. So I want you to consider what farmlands are around here that are connected to your person of interest. Okay, who does he know that has farmland in this area? I don't think he would have put him in this monument area. I don't think he'd be that stupid. Farm. I'm thinking that Cody is on a piece of property, and no one's talking because they feel safe about it. And if I was law enforcement, I would be going back and I'd be finding out who they know and who has farmland, and where they would feel secure enough to go and put Cody there somewhere. Now, there's another thing that I did was I brought the furthest mile in distance that I went was 114 miles, and I did this because of Cody's Mars is measuring 114 total miles in celestial longitude. So I brought this out here, and I read somewhere in your writings to me that your person of interest's family had campgrounds that was out here in Oso. So I highlighted this. So it's funny that the 114 miles actually brings you right out here to Oso. Okay, but the important thing for you to know here is that this 114 miles is a measurement based on Cody's Mars, and it's just not something I brought out here because you mentioned Oso. So I just wanted to make a point of letting you know that. It's funny that this lines here is coming out to a new resonance, okay? Anyway, you can turn these things on. You can turn them off. So that makes the map look less busy. You should actually look at this map one by one. Turn things on one by one. Now, what concerns me here is that there are some things happening here with a piece of property that's of interest. Okay, this would be one of the first places that I would actually go and look. Okay, because if I want to turn on the chart of the disappearance, I'm getting some more things that are actually giving me directions here in this area. Okay. So again, you have to go in here and you have to look at all these one by one. Don't worry about this says Sun, Mars, Pluto. You don't need to know that. I need to know it. The only thing you need to know is where the lines are and what they're going over and what you know about the area. Something sticking out to me about cherry farm. So where around here is there, any cherry farm? How about down here? In this area. Okay, so there's a lot of lines pulling out to these things that you had highlighted on your map. Could he be there? Of course he could be there. One of the reasons why I wanted to give you the longitude down here is because I wanted you to actually see if any of the roads have anything to do with any of these numbers. Pay attention to these numbers. I think they could help you while you're looking to see where farmland is, while you're thinking that if anything is connected to your persons of interest. Okay, so again, you can turn things on and you can turn them off. You can turn them all off and look one at a time. Okay, The blue is going to be where Cody's stars, birth stars, is in blue, disappearances in red, and then your person of interest is in green. So if you look at them all one by one, the map doesn't become so overwhelming, and you could hone in and zoom in and zoom out on different areas. Again, another thing is I don't want you to be afraid. I've actually added a link here to the same area in Google. Okay, so if you click on this link, it'll open up another browser window, and you'll be able to actually go to Google and look at the area based on satellite. Okay, when I'm working on your map, I can actually work in satellite. But once I make it, publish it, and make it so that it can be interactive on this page, you don't have any ability to look at this for a satellite view. So that's why I provided you a link up here so that you can do that. Another thing is your best bet is to actually look at our map on a desktop, and this button right here will actually expand the map full size. But remember, you'll have to hit your escape button and come out of it in order to turn on another folder. Okay, so again, you have all these folders. One is the hotspots, areas that I like. You can turn them on, you can turn them off, you can zoom in and zoom out. A map is a working folder. Okay, this is actually just a compass I put in here to actually show you vector bearing. Okay, you can turn that on if you want to. Locations of interest is everything that you had on your map and on our map. Okay, they can be turned on and off. Person of interest, okay, all his radiuses based on his stars, miles that he would go. He's in green, disappearances in red, and Cody is in blue. And again, you can turn them all on and all off, and you could just look at them one by one. And that's how I suggest that you do this, so that you're not overwhelmed. You can ask questions at any time. I'm here to answer any of your concerns. I know this video has gotten in length, but I think Cody deserves it. 12 years is a little too long. And there's just one thing that I wanted to leave you with, and that is this. A long time ago, someone had done a study on all the degrees of the 360-degree zodiac. And I just wanted to read something for you, and hopefully that it'll give you some inspiration to move forward. But Cody has, at the time of his birth, Leo was rising at 70 degrees. And the interpretation of Leo at 7 degrees is this. It's the constellation of stars shine brightly and brilliantly in the night sky. It's the power of basic spiritual values which refer to man's common humanity and to all enduring archetypes. The experience of the night sky with its multitude of stars, especially brilliant in all the countries from which astrology came, it is just as basic and archetypical as an experience as that of a sunrise, full moon, and seasonal changes. I just wanted to read that to you and inspire you, and hopefully it will answer your own desire to reach out to us and work on Cody's case. So I'll leave it there, and I will wish your search luck. And again, if you have any questions, please, I'm here. Phone call and help you in any way you need it. Let's hope that what we've done here helps to bring this little sweetheart home. God bless, and good luck on your search. Thank you for watching.